So I'll just wrap that point up and say very different, as you can imagine. I remember paying 100 New Zealand dollars for a bottle of... Welcome to my channel! Welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Matilda. I'm from New Zealand, England and Ireland. This video is about the 5 cultural differences that I observed between New Zealand and Peru. The first main difference is food. The majority of Peruvians, it seemed like lunch was more important than dinner. And it seemed like their lunch portions were much bigger than the lunch portions in New Zealand. And that their dinner portions were smaller than the dinner portions in New Zealand. The lunch food options in Peru were a lot simpler in terms of ingredients. For example, a salad there could consist of tomato and red onion with a bit of lemon drizzled on top, and it was so yummy and so different to a salad that in New Zealand might be tomato, lettuce, cucumber, avocado. Something else I noticed was that with their lunch accompanying it was usually a fizzy drink, rather than in New Zealand. I noticed it's more, people more have a water or a juice for lunch. Okay, another big difference that I noticed was in Peru on weekends when they have lunch, it's like an event. Like, for example, you could be at the lunch table for 5 hours. And moving on to dinner, I observed that some families in Peru have a dinner that's just bread with cheese and maybe a pastry, or some families do a full dinner. The next thing I wanted to talk about was how you are seen to try and put in effort into things you want in life. I think there is so much to talk about here. In Peru, there is a tendency for it to be seen as like a really good thing, to like go after what you want, try to get what you want. No one finds it embarrassing, no one like wants to bring you down, no one thinks it's a bad thing at all. People reward that behavior and they think, oh, good on them for going for what they want. In big contrast to that, I think in New Zealand the tendency is to tell people what you really want and to not really go after what you want in the same way. And if people are going after something that they want, other people will potentially like try to bring you down, or like people make fun of someone who's like trying to be a singer or something like that. If it's a bit out of the norm, okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was nightlife and going clubbing and stuff. I think that in Peru, alcohol is a lot more expensive when you go to a bar or a club. I remember paying 100 New Zealand dollars for a bottle of alcohol in a club, and that would just be like half the price in New Zealand. Or I will say their after parties are not, like, no one keeps drinking. People would just like order food and go to bed. The after parties more seem about eating rather than drinking. That was the difference that I observed. Also, in the clubs in Peru, I observed that people actually dance. A song will come on and people will actually grab like someone else and start dancing salsa in the middle of the club, like a nightclub club. And that's like perfectly normal. That really surprised me, and I found it was completely normal and is honestly so cool. In New Zealand, people will dance in a club, not really dance, like maybe in a little circle they'll do a little, or a little, you know, where you just like jump up and down, but no one's like actually doing a dance, so that's very different. Clubs in Peru seem to close like 4 to 6 a.m. In New Zealand, they seem to close 2 to 4 a.m. The last thing I wanted to talk about was physical touch. Now, I mean this in a romantic way and a friend way. My observation was that in Peru, physical touch is a lot more normal. There are a lot more like hugs and kissing and holding hands in a romantic way and a platonic way. For example, when you greet someone in Peru, and I think for most of South America, you kiss them on the cheek and hug them. And you do that to everyone. So it just brings that like more closeness and intimateness immediately when you meet people, which is really sweet, honestly. I think in New Zealand, PDA and physical touch is not something that's tolerated. For example, even between couples, like if there's someone else there, the couple won't touch each other, really. Like maybe not even like a hand on a leg. Yeah, this is so weird to talk about even. So I'll just wrap that point up and say very different, as you can imagine. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, you're probably the only person. And have any thoughts or anything to say on this, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to respond, because it'll be interesting to see what someone else thinks, for sure.